Hello, everybody. Welcome to That's Football. I'm back with Laurence McKenna to discuss the big topics in football. And you know where we're going to start? We're going to start in the Champions League with some shameful things, I think. Mo Salah, also Alvarez is where we're going to start. We're going to talk about who can win the Champions League. Commentary, Gary Neville apparently as well. A few bits. But Lars, how are you doing? I know we're going to talk about Liverpool, but we're not going to start with Liverpool.
No, rough couple of days, I guess, for Liverpool fans, but in context, like not really that rough. I think that we just thought we'd go further. But PSG, I mean, yeah, we'll talk about favourites later, but PSG, good side, like really watchable. And Anfield often acknowledges the other good side. And there are a lot of old guys around me going, oh, good play there. Good play. Yeah, well done. He's done good there. So, yeah, fair enough.
We will talk about Liverpool because I want to get your thoughts on the season. I did a video on them yesterday, what next, etc. But I have some sympathy for some of their players and not for some others. But we've got to start off with the Julian Alvarez incident.
What do you think?
You know what? Hands up. Last night I didn't do the watch along because I was having this operation I was talking about, and that led me to watch football in a bit of a different way than I normally do. Like we're going to talk about the commentary in a moment, which I didn't realize how bad it was. But also, I sort of missed the penalty incident because it went into extra time. I was so tired of the Liverpool PSG game, and I was tired from the anaesthetic. But I thought, you know what, I'm just going to watch 1923, which is like a Yellowstone thing. And then I turned it back on, and I'd missed the penalties. And then I looked at it, and I was like, I can't believe what I've just witnessed, in the sense that technically they're right. There is a double touch on there. I think there is, but it's not there to the naked eye. And I've never seen it happen before. But the big thing for me, Laurence, is the injustice of the fact that it doesn't even get retaken.
Well, so that was what I found very confusing. Obviously, I'm not the one sitting there with the referee's handbook at the time going, well, 14-2 here, it says you're meant to retake but in the moment, I remember thinking, what? So the penalty is just nixed. There is no, but it isn't. The point is, it's not meant to be. I mean, maybe there's another rule that I'm not aware of, but from the stuff that I've seen online today, that I think is rule 14.2, as far as I can remember, they say if the penalty is touched twice, but goes in, it should be retaken. So why was it not retaken in that moment? And why also do we not have some serious in-depth commentary and a bit of an inquiry about this on air? We know why. Well, we know why. It's because UEFA and everyone else who gives anyone broadcast rights always says, don't criticize the broadcast, don't criticize the organization, don't say that anything's wrong until afterwards. So,
well, you've got the Champions League sponsored by Just Eat, and then you've probably got Rio Ferdinand doing something with Just Eat,
Sure.
And man's got to eat. So they're not going to brand deals, aren't they? But we're not sponsored by Just Eat, so I would say that's just shit. What happened last night?
I've got to admit, the one time I was sponsored by Just Eat, the agency that handled it, we actually had a terrible experience with them. So that was the food was good. Actually. Yeah. Oh, really? Okay. Well, then there you go. Yeah, the food was great. I'll say that, right? But the actual delivery of the content was made very difficult. But yeah, it's a whole other thing. He should have retaken it. Or I think what we need to do here is everyone gets into the Wanda Metropolitana and they redo the penalty shootout.
I just think, you know what, we're going to talk about who's going to win the Champions League, and we'll talk about Liverpool in a moment as well. But when you're talking about the Champions League, Real Madrid's relationship with the Champions League, I'm in awe of, because they find a way. They won that Champions League a couple of years ago when they weren't that good, and they beat Chelsea, they beat Man City, they got all the way to the final and they won it. They are incredible. They always find a way. But last night, I saw Jude Bellingham going double touch, and I'm like, you can't see that.
That's why you can't see that. I was trying to work out where the double touch idea came from. And
maybe they seen it on a screen.
There was Vasquez as well, or whatever. They must have had a replay of the penalty, like a very tight one, and they must have seen some sort of rebound. But I don't know why, therefore, the referee doesn't go, right, what is the ruling here? And why is it that when there is the double touch, they don't know these rules? I guess there must be a different penalty shootout thing, but I couldn't believe that Atletico Madrid weren't going more crazy. Like post-match, the manager's just walking around going, come on, everyone up. I was sort of like, wait, guys, surely here someone's going in there, handshake with a referee. Come on then, what's going on?
It is weird. This is what I mean. I think that, look, I'm not having a pop at Real Madrid fans. I think sometimes we're well seasoned with VAR, aren't we? Where like Liverpool, when that offside goal onside goal was given as offside, Spurs fans got very defensive. Not having a pop at Spurs fans.
Weird.
You know, quite rightly, you've benefited from something. We'd all go like that. But Real Madrid, fair play, you've won the game. I think technically they have got it right. They must have got it right. But it's an absolute farce when you've played 2 games in a Madrid derby, played 120 minutes, you're in a penalty shootout, and basically one of the penalties is void because he slipped.
Yeah.
Like that, you know, goalkeepers, if they're off their line, it's retaken.
Yeah.
But a striker or a penalty taker slips, not done it on purpose.
Alvarez,
There's no advantage. And, you know, that's your penalty gone void. The rule is ultimately the rule is a joke, and it's been absolutely exposed on the biggest platform, and they need to change the rule. It's disgusting. There's nobody in football that would go, I like that rule. I actually think it's a good rule. Shouldn't have slipped. Get out. You know.
Yeah. Well done. What you've done there is you've strung up one of the best teams in the competition this season and one of the most watchable sides. I would actually argue, I think Atletico Madrid are a more watchable team than Real Madrid are right now. I know it's an opinion, and maybe I've got a bit of more affection for Atletico, but I just find them as a more compelling package this season. I actually find something quite boring about Real Madrid this season, because it is very, well, look, we've got Mbappe. You know, last night, Vinicius was not a non-entity, but he was certainly not what I would have expected. And, you know, I think there's a lot to be said for just making it a more compelling one rather than just having the big brands in there.
Yeah, 100%. We'll move on, but I think, I feel badly for Atletico Madrid, and I think that, you know, the big thing I would say as well is that this has happened before.
Sure,
this has happened before in other penalties as well. So ridiculous.
Do you know what though? I think it changes I think it's good for Arsenal. I think Arsenal have got more chance of beating Real Madrid than they do Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, because. Well, look, obviously, let's do Liverpool first, because you're a Liverpool fan. You're out. I thought also, just I want to get your thoughts on the season for Liverpool and, you know, the disappointment of this. I remember this just about when Man United used to win titles, and you'd have a title basically wrapped up like you have.
You did in 96, 97. That was what it was that year. It was a very similar gap.
Yeah, and there's a few times where you just knew it might be a 5-point gap, but you pretty much knew you were going to win it. Liverpool are definitely going to win it, but then you get knocked out of the Champions League, and you almost feel, oh God, the season's over, and you always have to get yourself back into still going to win the league. But I do think some of the criticism, yet again, I just can't. I find myself defending Mo Salah all the time, and that's because I think he's one of the world's best players. He won't win the Ballon d'Or now, which is just ridiculous, because you've got to win the Champions League to win the Ballon d'Or.
Who should though?
And I think he should be up for it, because he just gets so disrespected. But in the context of the PSG game, another game that Mo Salah didn't turn up. Well, no, how about another game where Mo Salah got absolutely marked out of the game and got very little support from his fullback or his forward in either game? I think you can mark a player out of the game, and that's not without taking into context what time of year it is. It's Ramadan, etc. But I think Mo Salah, He's not Superman. Like, you can look at Vinicius Junior last night. You can have games where you're kept out of a game. But what's your thoughts on Liverpool now, having had a 48 hours sort of thing, 24 hours?
Well, first of all, the address the Mo Salah thing, right? I think Mo had a tactic made specially for him to keep him quiet-ish in the game. And, you know, ultimately there was a man who was put on him for the whole match. That shows how special he is. That shows how important Mo is to Liverpool's system. But on top of that, basically, if Mo had scored one of those 2 early chances where there was basically a ball where the defender sticks out his leg, or the other opportunity that was very early on, we're talking about Mo Salah completely differently. And the game is, to me, beyond PSG at that point. I think if we get to 2-0 on the night, which is where we would have been at if we'd scored those goals, if buts and maybes, but then the game's beyond PSG at that point. And Mo Salah also had a great shout for a penalty. There were plenty of times where there was just no one in the box for them to get on the end of what it is. So I don't think it's just Mo in this particular instance. I think PSG were really, really good. Overall, I think, you know, I don't like to do it like this because I think it's weird in knockout football. It's not about the better team. It's about the team that plays the tie. PSG played the tie better. They were, you know, we tactically, there were a lot of good things we did, but PSG overall attacked the tie. And I would like to reward that kind of football. Second leg, I think it was a lot more even. First leg, I've got to admit, I think Liverpool looked very meek. And I think we gave too much respect to PSG. That would be my other piece of feedback. And I think moving forward, obviously with Arsenal being they are the only English side in the Champions League still, right? Or is there another? Villa. Sorry, my bad. Sorry, Villa fans. I would want Arsenal to be as disrespectful to Real Madrid as possible, and Aston Villa to be as disrespectful to PSG as possible, because I think PSG are going to take Aston Villa very lightly.
I think
it was a very, very, very intense game with PSG. They can't keep that up.
Well, PSG were very impressive, and they did surprise me. And I think
Amazing.
Over the 2 legs, it probably came down to what it should have come down to, which was a penalty shootout, because they were great in the first leg. You won. You played well in the second leg. They won it across the 90 minutes. Yeah. I'd expected more from Liverpool, but to be honest with you, we are in mid-March. No one called they were going to win the league. They've been relentless in the league. Their squad's not that great, really, when you think about the start of the season. And I think that they're always going to have periods where they look a bit tired, or and I think they did against Southampton.
Do you think at all there is an argument when we see teams, because obviously we want the coefficient to be as strong as possible. We want as many teams in Europe as possible to kind of, make the cash flow more. I guess that's what modern football is. Even if you hate the cash, the game is now to chase the cash, right?
Yeah.
We want as many teams as possible in the Champions League. It's going to make our league stronger. We potentially got that 5th place because of what Liverpool did in the Champions League. At the same time, should we be looking into giving teams a rest mid-season, or like a winter break style thing? Because I've got to admit, when I watched that, I thought PSG just looked so fresh. And the league, the intensity of our league punishes our sides.
I've said this for years. Like, I've noticed it with Bayern Munich and PSG in the past, and it sometimes can be a hindrance, but they definitely hit March and their domestic league is won.
Yeah.
So you can go one of 2 ways. You can either be really in form and, game after game, or you can be really fresh. And I think about United in 99, long time ago, but we almost thrived off playing a game every 3 days and the momentum of that. But I think in the modern game, is it possible to just thrive? It's so intense, like you say. There's so many games. I think rest is now just so important, and we don't have a winter break, do we? I don't know whether they do in France. They certainly do in Spain, and I think that with Liverpool as well, I'd also look at it and go, 8 games in a Champions League stage to get knocked out in the last 16 just seems.
We dominated all about? So many of them.
Yeah,
we dominated so many of them, and it's ultimately that's meaningless. Now I know obviously it means something in in the long run.
Well, 90 million, isn't it? You made 90 million, which is
I think it was more in the end, but I think 90 was the minimum, and it will probably be closer to 100. So
which is crazy.
Great, good for us. But at the same time, I think the other side for that is we're obviously not in the Club World Cup or whatever you want to call it in America this summer, and they're going to play way less games, way less intense. And there's going to be a massive prize pot there. So I think at the moment, FIFA, UEFA, everyone is undermining each other's competition by creating this sort of pithy summer competition, or whenever it is, that ultimately I think is just there to be a money-making exercise and not good for football. I don't think it's great for football.
I think, I think Chelsea are going to make £50 million from that Club World Cup.
Right.
I'm not intending to watch it.
But you will. Oh, come on.
No, because I've looked at some of the kickoff times, and a lot of them are early hours of the morning. And I've looked at a lot of the fixtures, and I'm like, I might tune in the latter stages, but I couldn't give a toss about 1 o'clock in the morning between, LA Galaxy and Salzburg. Liverpool won't be there. Barcelona won't be there. But I also think the flip side is that I'm presuming Chelsea, Man City, Real Madrid are going to use their good players. So, that's not a summer break for them again, is it? So that could have a real big impact on the start of the season if you're Arsenal, Liverpool, fancying a title race.
Okay. Yeah, I get that. And I also think Arsenal fans are always going to value, or whoever is involved in the competition, a title race well over a summer tournament, because it's very easy to write a summer tournament off, as difficult or as easy as it may be. And they want that Premier League title in the same way as we want that 20th Premier League title. I'm 10 times more desperate for that, to the extent where when we were on the way to the game, I said, if we go out tonight in the Champions League, it doesn't feel like the blow that everyone thinks it is. The league is what we really care about. Equaling United and then, trying to, I know obviously the big plan at United in the next few years, which we all know is an A1 plan, Mark, is to build a stadium for £2 billion.
How many are you going to win before that?
Rebuild the squad and then win the Premier League in 2028. Of course, all realistic goals.
Well, you see, the thing is, once Manchester United have built that stadium, whatever, and people can call it Butlins or a circus tent, whatever. When we build that, everyone else is finished because they're just going to bow down and go, we may as well stop.
Wow, look at this.
The new stadium, which will generate about £100 million extra a year, is just suddenly going to make us the best team in the world, isn't it? Of course.
It's the Sagrada Familia of stadiums. It's, wow, look at that. Look what you've done. That's incredible. One question though, Mark. If you had a load of staff at the club and you had to let some of them go, why wouldn't you think of making a little dinner so that the players could all go along and raise the money for the staff? You should have thought of that, shouldn't you?
Yeah. I mean, somebody obviously told Gary that because he wouldn't have thought that himself, the way he works. But
he's a great business mind. You won't understand that, Mark. That's because you're not a great business mind that Gary is.
He gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning, fair play.
So does Phil, although I think that's for different reasons.
Oh, okay. Back to Champions League.
Yeah.
Who's going to win it now? Because Real Madrid. That's the end of that. I hope not. I hope not, actually, because I think that they're not the Real Madrid of previous years. And I think to win it, they're going to have to really sort of grind it. And
give me the odds on Arsenal beating them. What is it? Is it how?
I tell you what, I'd love Arsenal. I bloody love it if Arsenal beat.
Bloody love it
because it would just open up the tournament again. It'd be like PSG beating you. So I think Barcelona might win it if they can keep everybody fit. They're a really good team this year.
Inter. I think Inter a pretty decent proposition. I think Inter could beat Bayern. Yeah.
I'd like to see somebody win it that's not Real Madrid, because it feels like at the moment Real Madrid are winning it every year, which I know is not the case, but it just feels like I don't mind Real Madrid winning it every year if they're like amazing, but it just feels like they might be grinding their way through it again, and it'd be nice to see someone else win it.
Give me this, right? Unai Emery, when he was at the level with whatever Spanish side it was that he was managing at any one time, very good at getting through European competitions in the knockout stages, undermining bigger teams, undermining the opposition managers' tactics and like complex ideas. How much is that Villa in this season's how much are they the undermining element? And it's Emery here. Like, he's got a little bit of that tactical side. He's got a great front line. I think Villa are like this really weird dark horse in the tournament now, because PSG are going to underestimate them. I can see, I'll tell from face you disagree.
I like Villa, but I sort of look at the Villa situation and I go, so to get back in the Champions League, they've got to get top 5 or win the Champions League. For Manchester United to get in the Champions League, got to win the Europa League. And you look at it and you go, how is that fair? Like,
right? No, fair enough.
And I think that's the problem with Villa. I'd love to see them back in the Champions League because I think that provides a platform to keep growing. And we've seen with Newcastle, they got in 1 year and then they're not in there, and the project drops again. But I look at Villa and I go, I don't think they're good enough to get top 5 quite, and I don't think they're quite good enough to win the Champions League. So I think they're going to.
Come on, the Bruges game.
But the thing is, they've got to beat PSG. Then they're going to have to beat Real Madrid or Arsenal. And then they're probably going to have to beat Barcelona. And that, I mean, look, if they can do it, it'll be great. But that is a big ask, because whatever I think about Villa, and I think they're a good team, I don't think they're on the level of a PSG, Real Madrid, Arsenal, or a Barcelona. So I think it's tough. But they'd be my pick. I'd love them to win it.
But earlier in the season, 2-0 between Aston Villa and Arsenal. And then earlier on in the season, let me try and find this here. I'm trying to find the other. Arsenal.
They beat Bayern, didn't they?
Arsenal won 2-0 on the other leg. So that's 4-2 overall in the Premier League this season. But still, it's closer than we think, is all I'm saying. And maybe in these knockout games, Villa, Unai Emery might thrive a little bit more, I was just thinking, in these kind of environments.
He's definitely got pedigree, yeah. But I'd love Villa to win it. I think Barcelona will beat Dortmund. Bayern Inter will be interesting, like you say. And hopefully Arsenal, Real Madrid will be close. I mean, look, if Arsenal got through Real Madrid, Arsenal's biggest problem would be we're going to win the Champions League when you're only in the semi.
Doesn't Doesn't this season also have the hallmarks of a season where Arsenal go on and do something in the Champions League, though? Where it's like, oh, everyone's going, oh, you bottled the league and all this rubbish, right? Which isn't, true or isn't true, whatever you want to say. And then they go, yeah, that's good. Watch this. And they beat Real Madrid. They ban the demons. The demons are gone. They're banished. Suddenly, wow, Arsenal, Saka. Just saying.
Do you not think that Arsenal, I'm not an Arsenal fan, but do you not think yet again Arsenal are setting themselves up for the inevitable, if we'd bought a striker? Because I look at that Arsenal team and I go, defensively, they're good enough to stop teams in Europe, but are they going to score the goals they need? And I tell you, I'd be so frustrated if I was an Arsenal fan. You're out of the title, you're out of the FA Cup, you're out of the Carabao Cup, probably because you didn't buy a striker. And now there's another tournament that you could have won, but you didn't buy a striker.
Well, I understand that, but are you also underestimating the fact that they've just beaten PSV, not PSG, although, if they won this, then they go through against PSG, 9-3 on aggregate. So, while you're busy going, oh, they don't have a striker, oh, they need another person to come in and score goals. Calafiori, Odegaard, Trossard, and then the rest.
I watched them against United at the weekend, and they need a striker.
No, fair play to you. Yeah,
West Ham, nil.
Yeah.
So,
no, you're right. Yeah,
I think if teams open up,
he always goes to that, and he
I think if teams open up against Arsenal, their style of play will work. If you sit back and defend, but that might help them against Madrid, because Madrid probably won't sit back, so it might. Sure. We'll have to wait and see. Who are you going to win it then? Let's punch now, because mine was Liverpool, so I've got to change. I'm allowed to change. I predicted Liverpool would win the Champions League at the start of the season.
Yeah, but you didn't. Did you predict? You didn't predict us win the Premier League. Did you predict? Where do you think we get in the Premier League?
I think I got a lot wrong with that, because I said Man City would win it, Arsenal second, and I think I put Liverpool top 4. To be fair,
City aren't mathematically out of it though, Mark. Come on.
But I was very proud of my Liverpool Champions League one, even though they didn't happen, because I sort of predicted that they might do something big this year.
Yeah, no, I do like that. Yeah. Okay, so it's not Liverpool. As a Liverpool fan, I'm going to back PSG. To be honest, I think PSG have got a very good chance, and I think they feel like something special is going on there. And with the league in the shape it is in France, they're basically doing a pre-season and able to just cruise the Champions League. They rested all their great players on the weekend. They don't even need to play them.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I'm gonna go Barcelona, but I'd like it to be somebody like.
I'm gonna go PSG Barcelona. Because your boys versus mine.
I think I'd rather that than Real Madrid, which people go, wow, you want El Clasico? If you want El Clasico, watch it 3 times a year in Spain.
Yeah, and even then you'll see it's a little bit played out now, guys. Come on.
I'll tell you what I did just before we move on. I because I didn't do the watch along last night, I was in the kitchen just sort of flicking between some stuff, and a lot of people on my watch-alongs have said that why is Rio Ferdinand doing commentary? He's crap at it. Now, because I don't listen to commentary, because I have my audio off, I assumed he was doing a Robbie Savage, just sat there going, yeah, in your day, But actually, he's not.
Great. I love it. Oh, the goal.
He's infiltrated Ali McCoist's commentary. Right. So I'm watching it, and Ali McCoist is talking about the Villa whole end and talking about great players that have played the game, and all that. Yeah. And then Rio pops in and goes, I played here, Yeah. I played here. My haircut was like this, And I'm like, he's literally, he wants to be Gary Neville. Gary Neville's doing commentary. I want to do commentary, but that's so, you can't cut off. You can't take. If I was Ali McCoist, I'd be complaining. I'd be like, I've won awards. I'm one of the best co-commentators in the game,
in the world,
and now you're taking percentages of my time. It's like when I came on the kickoff, and I used to come on and say, look, if I'm going to be on, who's the other guest? And they can only speak 10% compared to my 90%.
Less. And we said that's fair enough, Mark.
Otherwise, I walk.
Because at the time, of course, you were much bigger than Rory Jennings, but of course now, much more parity. No, sorry, my bad.
I'm physically bigger and actually factually influenced, definitely emotionally bigger.
And we should start a dad podcast.
But I definitely know more. His parenting, he's always on a bloody plane for poker part. I mean, poor missus is picking the kids up again, isn't she?
I've got to say,
my kids every bloody day.
I've been
anyway. That's for a parenting podcast.
Yeah, and at the same time, I'm sure Rory's a great parent. Mark's joking, but I'm sure that we would do a good parenting podcast. And actually, I think Mark would make quite a good guest on theirs.
Yes,
he'd be good with Spencer.
I'm not saying he's a bad parent. I'm not saying
no,
that.
But I want to avoid that because everyone clips it up and goes, Mark Goldbridge doesn't like this. he doesn't like this thing anymore. He doesn't like parents.
Sound like David Brent.
David Brent.
No,
Darren Bent was the player.
I love the fact that people want to talk about parenting. Anyway, so what I was going to say is that
Rio.
Ali McCoist should not be having his commentary cut for a threesome.
I mean, I don't know about Ali's extracurricular activities, but I agree. I do think Ali, it should be pure Ali. It should be pure McCoist, is what you're saying. And I think I enjoy Ali because the thing I like about Ali is he's got the perfect line of analysis meets just loving the game. Yeah. Like he's just every time he's just like, isn't it great to be here? Isn't this amazing? And he's like just happy that he's at a Champions League game. Whereas I think everyone else on TNT, they can be a little bit too cool for school. Do you know what I mean? Like, well, you know.
I just don't think Rio's a very good commentator as well. You know, stay in your lane. Like, I don't think.
Well, next to Ali, it's hard. He doesn't compare well in that sense. And I think a lot of ex-Manchester United guys are quite flat.
Yeah, it feels like he's got quite big at TNT and said, oh, you know, I want to do some commentary. Of course you can. Do you want to present the show? Yeah. Do you want to actually just do it on your own? Yeah, I'll do a live stream while I'm doing it. Yeah, it's I was a bit disappointed in that, but I only bring it in because a lot of people had said, "What do you think about Rio's commentary?" And I was like, "It's the first time I got to listen to it last night, and I didn't realise he was a third wheel with McCoist, which
I think." So I can't remember what the game is because I was at whatever game it was, but they said that Rio was a third wheel on one of the commentaries. And when it was, I think it might have been PSG Liverpool, the first leg.
Well, yeah, last week there was a few. That's what a lot of people were moaning about. Yeah.
And when it was Liverpool just getting absolutely, you know, there was onslaught after onslaught. Apparently it was all Rio being like, well, this is great, isn't it? This team, you know. And then Harvey Elliott scored and they just didn't hear from him for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Which, again, I got to admit, I do kind of like that in a way. Like, I do like that there is, in many ways, like, that's what I want from my product, is a little bit of, like, schadenfreude where I can go, the commentator shut up. I want that.
He does. Anything else you want to pick up on?
Yeah.
That was my sort of thing from the week.
While we're criticising the way that ex-Manchester United guys speak, because I know it's probably one of our favourite pastimes, obviously, you've been a big part, Mark, of the rehabilitation of the community around Old Trafford, and you know the refurb of that whole area. I know that the mayor will have been in detailed talks with you because you're on the take from the club, right?
Yeah, I've demanded a water slide, and that's it. Yeah.
Can I just say, if Mark Goldbridge is not already on the board of people that decide what happens, that's his interview. That's why Mark should be in there. If there's not a water slide at what looks like Waterworld 2.0, then why isn't there?
There's so much rain in Manchester. It would be ecologically a winner. We can get all the rain, put it into a big cleanser, and then send it around the water park.
That's the way that water works. Well, first of all, I have my concerns about the stadium design, Mark, and I just wanted to air them with you.
Go.
First of all, who in the meetings doesn't say to everyone, right, we've designed the new stadium, guys. So the stadium, we're great. Okay, it's got enough people. Yes, brilliant. Okay, some attractions around it. Yeah. Refurbing the whole community. Brilliant. Okay, guys, let's take a look at the picture of the stadium. When we launch this, do you think anyone's going to be able to make any jokes about the way that stadium looks? Just anyone in the room, just shout it out now if there's anything. And it doesn't matter what it is. It can be as silly as, you know, oh, I don't like the logo. And everyone in that room went, no, it looks fine.
The thing is, though, you know, like within the first 2 minutes of that going out,
right?
It was Butlins, it was a circus tent, it was this, that, and the other. I actually thought, you know, when you know, if you let your grass grow a little bit and then like you get a bit of dew in the morning and you got the spider's webs. Mm-hmm. I thought that. So like,
I did think that
there was loads of things about it. And look, some people do like it, but like you say, there's a lot of people who don't like it. And the fact that they didn't sort of look at it and go, I mean, I do get the cover area, because if you've been to Manchester, it's a really clever idea to cover up the outside because it will rain a lot. So if you want to do events, I can understand the cover more than the Goldfish Bowl.
Yeah, the Goldfish Bowl thing I get. And, you know, I know everyone else. I think it looks very nice. Obviously, it's a stadium that I'll probably go to as an away fan. Inside looks great. It was very cute the way that they put 3-0 to Manchester United. on the scoreboard. Someone said that's probably the least realistic element of this.
Well, no, we're playing a Carabao Cup game against Swindon.
Right, sorry, my bad. Okay,
that's why no one's there.
Why did Swindon get those bullets? I don't understand. And then
we would be 3-0 up against them. They're rubbish.
There is like a weird.
It's the Swindon lot. You love David.
Yeah, the bloody Swindon lot. You bloody. The weird thing is, right? There's then a sort of dance stage in the middle of underneath one of the big covers. There's a dance sort of area that I don't think anyone's really acknowledged yet, and I'm excited to see it. Is what I will say, Mark. I think the B-boys of Gary Neville are very exciting, but the thing that they misjudged entirely in the whole launch, if I'm launching a product, I go, guys, Morgan Freeman, Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
Which famous Manchester United fan shall we get to voice this? An epic voice.
Ian McShane.
Any of these epic
Mick Hucknall.
Mick Hucknall. Do. Did he do that? Yeah.
That's Phil Collins.
That was the other one. That's Phil Collins. They're both ginger. That's why I get them mixed up. Sorry.
Phil Collins is bold.
Yeah, but he's not been bold his whole life, mate. Just look up Phil Collins.
I'm not allowed to remember Phil Collins for hair.
Yeah,
there's people in the chat like, who's Phil Collins?
Who's Phil Collins?
Is it a drink?
He did the Tarzan.
Just the greatest singer-drummer of the last 50 years.
To be fair, he did the Tarzan soundtrack. A lot of people are going to know that. And he did the gorilla in the Dairy Milk ad. So he wasn't the gorilla. He wasn't being the gorilla.
He had hair then.
He a lot. Yeah. Ultimately, they shaved him since they went, Phil, you look ridiculous. You look like a gorilla. He said, what? Anyway, Phil Collins is a great drummer and a good singer. Why did they get Gary Neville? Why is Gary Neville doing his best impression of Michael Owen giving a tour of Dubai in a helicopter? Honestly, and over here, we have some of the best shopping facilities in the world. It's like...
Did he say, I haven't listened to it, mate, because I just can't bring myself to listen to it. But did he say, we're Manchester United? We're Manchester United.
But it did sound that way. I just don't... I don't know. You've got the best. You've got loads of people that love United who'd love to be involved. In these meetings, someone's got to speak up when they go, who should do the voiceover? And Gary goes, I think as an experienced broadcaster, I should handle that. And they go, well, Gary, you're a commentator. You're not a linguist of sorts.
Have you seen my Huel adverts?
I love that. In the board meeting, Gary just puts his Huel back down and he just goes, guys, I've got an idea. I should do the voice. And they went, Gary, I'm not sure he goes, oh, whoa, Gary's around now. No speaking. Come on, get the mic. I'll do it right now, guys.
If I'm doing it, and I'm very good at it, if I'm doing it, someone holds me the phone.
Yeah.
For the first time, I've never read it before. One take.
Yeah.
That's what happens. And I will read it like this. Ooh, it's a great stadium. We're gonna have a good time. You're gonna love it. You're gonna walk down this copy of Wembley Way. Is it sponsored by Huel? It's not sponsored by Huel.
Probably. Okay, fair enough.
No, I don't know why Manchester Regeneration Project committee member Gary Neville was chosen to do the thing for that. I don't know. It
just I don't get it, and I don't get why no one is in these meetings going, guys, there's a good idea and there's a bad. And I think it's because everyone's just worried that, where are we going to get our lunch next? Everyone's so hungry.
Well, they get sacked if you don't like it, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah. They're so hungry with no lunch that they all go, yeah, Gary, do whatever you need. And obviously Gary's fine. Gary's had his Huel. If I'm Gary, guys, I think I've just solved the Manchester United problem here with food. Huel.
Yeah.
Gary's got this massive, massive brand deal. If he really wants to feed the staff, donate all the Huel you can eat and drink forever. Gary's in
next
there
week,
giving it
next
to
week.
Sir
We've
Jim.
got Gary on the show.
Gary's going to bring Huel. I'm just saying, if you've got the connections with the food and the supplement people, help the staff.
What I was going to ask you is that as a Liverpool fan, and I'm sure a lot of people in the chat, I want them to give their points on this. You look at Man United. We've had this conversation all week in the United community. Manchester United, bottom half of the table, not very good.
Yeah.
In 5, 6, 7 years, they'll have built this stadium.
Yep. long time.
Realistically, are you worried about Man United in the next decade?
Well, so
comparable to your journey at Liverpool over the next 5 years, Arsenal, you're all far ahead anyway. So you're earning 80 million, 90 million pounds a year in the Champions League that we're not earning. So,
I think,
oh yeah, we're going to make an extra 100 million from the stadium. Yeah, we're making that at the moment from the Champions League. Thank you.
I haven't, by the way, the other thing was the in the launch for the actual stadium, it said that the covering was to do with, it would help collect rainwater, I think, and also collect solar energy. I have a fear that, you know, when you've got like some tarpaulin out in the back garden and it rains and it gets a little bit mildewy after a while, I just need to know that there will be no mildew on these beautiful awnings over the top. To answer your concern, in the next 2 seasons, I think United will improve. Will they be able to make up ground to the champion, because they said, did they not say a league by 2028, or did they say it with a spade in the ground by 2028?
Most profitable club in the league in 3 years, and Project 28 is to win the league. Yeah,
that's 2 seasons, because from here on out, next it goes, well, 3 seasons technically. It goes 25, 26, 26, 27, 27, 28. That's 2 seasons at full pelt, because the next season's a rebuild. It's not going to be Champions League next season. No. So that's 3 years. You genuinely, maybe if Amorim has it right. If not,
I just think we've got people in charge who actually don't know what they're doing, but think they do.
Fair enough. I just don't know why you'd say that. There's no need to say that, by the way.
We've got another one as well. We've got Operation 21, which is to win 21 titles, which you might do next year. So then we'll have to change it to 22. Because if you've won 22 and we go, yeah, Operation 21, and everyone goes, they've won 22, it's sort of irrelevant. You can't try and beat, yes, we've got a goal back, they're 2-1 up.
Right.
But the real quiz was to score a goal. Yeah, but they've got 2. Right. Okay. Change it to Operation 23. Okay.
Sorry.
We can't. It'll never happen.
I call it Operation Perch, just to kick back to Sir Alex Ferguson and knocking Liverpool off their perch.
Yeah.
You should be thinking
the best
about
operation. And it was so ambitious because you were so many titles ahead of us. Yeah. And he said, I'm going to knock Liverpool off the perch. And they went, oh, look at this idiot. And then he did it. Don't need Operation 21. It's like bloody, what's his name, isn't it? In Star Wars, what was it? Order 66 or something.
Oh, yeah.
That was good. Weird, that was a good, that was a very good order.
Yeah.
Many innocent Jedis died because of that. And not a day goes by where I don't think about it.
What? Because obviously it was real. It was Star Wars, a documentary, right?
Don't tell me you've never watched Star Wars.
I've watched Star Wars. Don't worry, I'm not Andrew Tate. Good. Yeah, I enjoy Star Wars. It's good fun. My son likes Chewbacca. Yeah, we get it. But I do think just calm down a bit on that, because you'll have alienated half your audience there.
I don't like Star Wars anymore.
Why not?
Well,
you can't just hang that out there, Mark.
Disney ruined it.
Right. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. I get it.
Okay. We'll leave it there, mate. Lovely show.
It's been good. And by the way, I love the launch. I do think the stadium is going to be very good. Well done on that design.
When it happens.
We should see.
Lots for you to get your comments in the chat. Who's going to win the Champions League? What do you think about Alvarez? And we gave you some. Do you think Man United can fight back? Do you think it's viable, or do you think they're talking shit?
Realistic.
Thank you very much for coming on.
See you guys later.
Thank you very much. Smash a like on video, everyone.